Right then. So, iNews has an interesting news story or not. Let's have a look. So, here we go. Sex offenders using drones to target schools as criminal quadcopter use rises rapidly, police warn. Really? This should be interesting. So let's see what it says. So, paedophiles feared to be among drone users responsible for more than 300 suspicious flights over schools reported to a specialist police unit. How do you report a drone flight to a specialist police unit? I don't know how I do that. I know I dial 101 if I see a drone that's suspicious, but that's not a specialist unit. Interesting. And this is flights over schools. So they say 300 suspicious flights over schools. Were they over the schools? Interesting. So that's who the article's by. So police are investigating evidence that paedophiles are using drones to record and watch children at school after receiving reports of more than 300 suspicious flights in the last 2 years, I can reveal. So, in the last 2 years, so that's when the Mini 2 and the sub 250 gram rule came out. So, could it just be that all of a sudden there's been a lot of new drone flies flying near schools? Could that be the possible case? And as for paedophiles using drones, you'd think a zoom lens on a camera will get them the image they really want. Just saying. Just saying. So a total of 333 flights have been recorded over or close to a school premises since October 2020. And I've flown close to schools, and I've been working, and I would just like to say that it wasn't me. I've flown near schools, at least since 2020. I've flown near schools at least, 5 times? 4 or 5 times? I don't recall the police showing up to come and arrest me, that's for sure. And I was inspecting a roof building. I certainly wasn't spying on the kids because that would be wrong. So, let's continue. So, sex offenders are feared. They are feared. So, paranoia. This is what they're playing on. This is what the news story is actually playing on. The headline was to grab your attention. And now we're getting into the meat of it. They are feared to be among those responsible. There's no proof, of course. And the problem is part of a wider, rapid increase in the use of quadcopters by criminals for offences from burglary to voyeurism. Now, what's interesting is, and let me be clear on this, manned aviation, so the microlights, flyers, paramotor flyers, and even Cessnas have been used before now, before quadcopters became so readily available. Guess what criminals used to use to spy on properties that they thought they might want to have a little nosy at? Let me give you a guess. Oh wait, yes, that is correct. They used manned aviation to go and spy on farms and equipment and all that kind of stuff before quadcopters appeared. Yes, aircraft have always been used for, for doing criminal stuff. That's just a fact. Not anything else. It's just a fact. So, a senior intelligence officer. Oh, there's a senior intelligence officer at the unit responsible for monitoring and countering criminal drone activity said deployment of devices over school playgrounds and premises was a concern after intelligence linked some flights to registered sex offenders. If they did, and it was linked, then those sex offenders would have been arrested for breach. Let's be clear that someone would have been arrested if that was true. And even so, just get a high-powered camera. and go to a beach. They get the images they want a lot easier. So, lead intelligence analyst at the counter-drone unit of the National Police Council, NPC, said officers were working to understand the scale and volume of the suspicious flights. I suggest most of them are not. I would suggest that actually out of the 333, I'm willing to bet at least 3/4 of them were never over a school, because where a drone is, or you see it, and it actually is, are two different things. You could see a drone flying nearby. It's nearby. It doesn't mean it's over the school. It's not looking at the school. It's looking at the roof. It's doing something else. The high number of reports concerning schools, the most common after airports and prisons, was unexpected. Yeah, because people report stuff about airports where they shouldn't be. See the Gatwick drone incident and the urban myth for more on that. So people seeing lights in the sky and seeing stuff in the sky doesn't mean it's a drone. Let's just be clear on that. So, addressing an online briefing at the Counter-Terrorism Business 365 conference, said, "We are seeing a lot of reported incidents at schools. We are seeing an increased number of incidents that have some other intelligence to indicate that their activity is more likely linked to registered, more than likely linked." But it's not, no one's been arrested yet. Where's the arrest? And if there is the intelligence that says the sex offender has a drone, where's the footage? Why you not caught them? And that's a concern of yours. My concern is the police not doing their job, maybe, as in actual getting the proof and going, we have the proof to arrest someone. That would be more concerning. Fear-mongering is my concern here. So, the National Police Crime, blah blah, whose forms part of the UK National Counterterrorism and Terrorism Police Operation. Just because someone has seen a drone fly over a school does not necessarily indicate that this is being used for any kind of offence. But we equally cannot disregard the possibility that a drone is being used in that manner. That's like saying someone's driving down a road in a car and they may possibly be a speeder. Oh, hang on a minute. I can't disagree with their argument there, can I? Okay, I can see a plane in the sky. Does that mean that plane in the sky cannot be disregarded for the possibility that it is being used for criminal activity? How do I report that to the police? Yes. So it's understood suspicious sightings cover police forces across the country, with clusters around cities including Glasgow, Newcastle, Manchester and London. No arrests have yet been made. Oh, for God's sake. So at one part of the article they are saying that the flights are linked to sex offenders. They're saying that there's a link. Well, if there was a link, why had there been no arrests? Because I'm sure that if it's a sex offender filming kids, that will get them chucked back in prison or arrested. I'm sure of that. Or the police is doing a really shit job. One of the two. And what is drone misuse? And if a drone's nearby a school, it doesn't mean it's spying on the school at all. It's ridiculous. So, here it goes. In a statement, we continue to encourage schools to report any drone activity to their local police force. This will help the police identify any patterns of concerning behaviour. A police source said drones are rapidly developing technology and criminals are always on the lookout to see how they can use technology. Yes, I can't disagree with the fact that criminals use technology. However, they use it in stupid ways. That is for sure. If you want to deliver something like drugs to a prison, you won't use a quadcopter, for example, because that would just be a stupid way to do it. And you can easily get caught. Oh, funny story. So, bearing in mind, I can't say who told me this, but we're going back a few years. So we're going back to the days of the Phantom 3. So 2016, 2015? We're going back in time a little bit here. So I was told by this person that someone had been doing a drug run to a prison. And they've been using the old Phantoms. However, as the drone came back from what they could work out, this is from what they could work out. The drone had come back, it had gone into auto land mode because of the battery, so it didn't quite get back to its home point. And they'd taken off in an old quarry. So as it came back and it started to land over the water in the quarry. And one of them went in to try and get the drone to rescue it because it was a lot of money. They drowned. Not only did they drown, but their mate went in to help them. They also drowned. So it was a 2-for-1 deal, nicely wrapped up, and no one had to go to prison. Saved us taxpayers some money. But criminals, my point is, criminals are not always the brightest people in the room, especially when it comes to drones. So, paedophiles are often adept in the use of technology because of the nature of their offending means. It takes place online, involves obtaining and manipulating of offensive or criminal images. Now, outside at a school, the shots they're going to get are not the shots that they are really after. They would. This is going to sound really horrible now, but you would think high-powered camera and a beach this time of year is where you're going to find the paedophiles. They're going to be bird watching, but not bird watching, if you follow my logic to a degree. So I think that would be the bigger concern, actually. So in the case of schools or public spaces, we're looking at more cases that are potentially voyeuristic in nature rather than attempting to identify or track individuals. But it's something we need to be aware of and act upon where necessary. The problem is now, the drone rules have changed that much that in public places, you can fly a Mini 2. The drone rules open this can of worms. This can of worms. So I have no kind of sympathy here for the police. They are responsible to do the checks. And just because someone's flying a drone doesn't mean it's illegal. That's like me saying I'm driving a car, so what's the chance of me driving it illegally? I don't have any speeding tickets. That's all I'm going to say. So criminals are using UAVs, unmanned aerial vehicles. It should be unmanned aircraft systems, by the way, in a wide variety of ways. I'm sure they use cars every day illegally as well, and vans. And I'm sure that they use manned aircraft illegally and many other things illegally. Figures from the National Police Counter Drone Unit show that between October 2020, so it received 9,638 reports of drone sightings passed on from organisations including UK police forces, military and intelligence agencies. The problem is we can now fly these things all over the place. The Mini 2 opened up, the rules have opened up, and 10,000 sightings. How many have been arrested? A big fat zero, because they were flying legally. This is so annoying. And the daily average of 14 sightings of interest to police is more than doubled the figure recorded in 2018. Well, no shit, Sherlock. That's because of the drone rules changed and everyone's paranoid and up their own backside. No wonder it's doubled. And sightings of interest to the police. Is it of interest to the police that someone's doing a roof inspection? Is it of interest to someone that there's a Mini 2 flying around because someone's filming their local area? No, it's got bugger all to do with the police and it's got no interest to do with them anyway. It's just horse crock. Then we've got many airports have spent heavily to upgrade their anti-drone defence. No, they never had drone defence, and it's not anti-drone defence anyway, it's more like detection. After a series of sightings caused mayhem at Gatwick. You cannot mention Gatwick. You're a bad, bad reporter. Who's that reporter again? Right, I'm going to call him out now. So, I'm annoyed now. You can't use Gatwick. By Cathal Milmo? You're a bad reporter. You're a very bad reporter. You mentioned Gatwick. Can't mention Gatwick. It's just horseshit. See my urban myth about that. Emergency jamming equipment supplied by RAF was only withdrawn after Gatwick's operators spent $5 million on equivalent technology. Really? That's interesting. Oh dear. Prisons were the second most frequently reported, with 487 drone sightings. Yes, I can believe actually that drugs and getting contraband and SIM cards into prisons is a big thing. However, if I was going to do that and I was a bad person, it would be by fixed wing drone, and I would be dropping it in the courtyard area at a specific time, because you'd never track that plane coming or going if it was me. But that's just me. So criminals were diversified into more areas, including the use of drones by burglary gangs for the hostile reconnaissance of properties. They've always done that with manned aircraft. As I said earlier, that's been done with Cessnas, microlights and paramotors before now. They used to go up with high-powered cameras and they would get everything they needed to know. So look in the garden or barns, exactly, that's what they used to do with manned aircraft. Cessnas, microlights and paramotors. They'll fly over the property, take loads of cameras, they can plan their routine, everything. It's nothing new using an aircraft to get this kind of data, just to be clear. What else? So, and police have received complaints of gambling syndicates and individual gamblers using drones deployed over race courses to exploit the small delay between live footage. So this is, again, they've had complaints, but those flights were all legal. Let's be clear. Those flights were by legal operators. They were not by anything else. And the so-called live television footage and the delay, right, the so-called delay that exists is milliseconds. If they wanted to stop the so-called gambling syndicates, just make sure the TV feed is 100% live. That way, they could eliminate the problem. They allow that problem to exist because they do not fix their problem with the delay. Got to imagine a drone filming is then transmitting the data back down to a ground station. So you've got a delay from the drone to the ground station. You then got to have a fast internet connection to transmit that to a web page or website or whatever. Those things there alone, you would think the delay would be that much that these gambling syndicates couldn't exist, or these gambling web pages or these drone operators wouldn't exist in that marketplace. And it goes to show how bad horse racing is. And it is a load of crock. Just fix your live broadcast. Dead simple. Honestly. So it offers an advantage to gamblers. Well, let's face it, Vegas certainly was not built on gambling. You see, this is the important bit. The practice has been found not to break existing laws. It doesn't. That's the best bit. You know, the guys that are flying are not breaking any existing laws. Oh, that's got to really piss off gambling people. And that's it. And then we're just into the adverts. I would say most of that article is horse shit, I'm afraid. I don't like the way they quote Gatwick in there. I don't like the way they're saying 333 flights over or close to a school premises since October 2020. It doesn't mean it's an illegal flight. This is the worst thing about all this. It's about fear-mongering. And what will happen is, this will appear here in this news article, and then it'll appear somewhere else. It will become into more mainstream newspapers, like the Daily Crappy Mail or something. Can I say that? It'll appear in the Daily Mail and other ones where, people will then become paranoid and we get more anti-drone stuff coming up, which would be a shame really, but it's just the way it is. There's no solid links at all, because if there were solid links to any of this stuff, people would have been arrested. And quite clearly, there's been no arrests, and it's just, I'm the reporter. I'm afraid you need to go and read up on Gatwick for sure and understand that Gatwick, there was never a drone, and you shouldn't be quoting it in such a story. Right, that's my bit of a rant, everyone. So I'm done. I'm out of here. Safe flying, everyone. Oh, and feel free to know that if you're flying near a school, by the way, it's not illegal. Just so you're aware. Yeah. Take care, everyone. Safe flying. Bye-bye.